game number 3 because it wasn't enough.
Unfortunately, though, Atlas is not going to get his wish because the very first ban is going to be Callista, but it's okay. We picked it up.
Yep.
Battle Mistress hitting the bench.
There we go. Siva finally going to be banned away from Sin as GP Brom. Again, the bans here for Chiefs. Realistically, they don't have to change too much here.
Ban the chicken.
With their bans, so we'll see what they do when they take away. Could ban a 0. I actually agree. That would be a very strong ban here.
We were theorizing and, no, not Chiefs. I think Sin banned chicken.
100%.
Yeah. Aww.
No, that's Poppy. That's not Birdman.
Pick Azir.
Trundle band away. Swiper. That's cute. He's looking at his team. He's like, guys, give me the Fiora. Like, please pick Azir. No, Swiper having some fun here in Seg. We'll see exactly what they want to go for. So only the one change really for Sin as far as their bans go to take Siva off the board. But Blue Side Chiefs, it's the side they wanted every game. You can kind of see why.
Big thing, though, is that Lulu is also up. So it's, okay, what did we drop? We didn't drop the Callista ban. We dropped the Lulu ban. Azir, Lulu, both big priority picks. They do well in a matchup against each other. Lulu, one of the few champions that can actually outrange Azir if she utilizes her help picks and the Glitter Lance on a back creep.
Swiper's having way too much fun, by the way.
Yeah. Have you seen his shorts?
Ooh, but it's actually Alistar that he picks.
This also throws a gauntlet to Sin, though. As, you know, there's still both of those champions available. Do they want the Azir? Do they value it more than the Lulu? Knowing that it's there to be taken. They go Azir as a response.
Well, confident lock in there from Juice. He actually just takes the Kindred straight away. See what Sing want to move in for their second pick
of their
first rotation, though. Don't have to pick it now. But
Come on, Rai.
But I like the panache of the pick. I think Juice looking over. Trying to see if he can confirm this draft with his team. Seems like they do want to pick a mid laner, interestingly enough, but see exactly where they want to go with it.
Who knows? Who really? Like, again, I feel like they'll lock in Fizz and then it'll be a top laner and it'll be like mad plot twist. It should actually just be that.
It is Azir instead, so I was maybe suspecting Sing would go back to some of their true roots, but no Yasuo today, at least in this particular game.
I hope Swiffer wanted to play Lulu.
I guarantee he didn't, but I know that he will.
Yep. Spook's putting his hand up. Can we change this?
Do I have to play Lulu?
Not too happy about what's
like
happening
7 other champions.
I could play Victor.
He
hovered Kassadin. Can I play Kassadin?
He can play Kassadin, that much I can tell you. We'll see what Chiefs do actually want to pick, though. You can see pretty animated between the members.
Sivir's banned. I know that Radier, one of my favorite AD carries in the OPL, simply because he plays Ashe.
He is?
I'm a big Ashe connoisseur.
You certainly are. As Chiefs trying to lock down these final picks, taking a lot of their time, actually. With only 10 seconds left. Looks like Nidalee will be selection number 1. Nidalee Jhin.
He's off. I no longer love Radier.
Yeah, so Siva being banned, Jhin the natural next selection besides perhaps the Ashe, but they're early picking as well with that Jhin, so I don't blame them for the strategy. I feel like there's definite answers to it that Sin have already locked in.
Yep.
In the Thresh.
Yep. and that's, you know,
I have to specify.
It makes sense. It's a big rogue champion. It's a good lane for them. It's good with Jhin, obviously, but they already have Alistar, so a lot of different things going on here for Sin that are all good. I wonder what they are going to pick up here for this 4th pick. They've already locked in that support choice. Might be going really far back.
If he, I was going to say, if he locked in Jinx, I would totally jump off Radier and be like, Karjud, you're my new favorite, but he locked in Corki.
Well, there's Corki. Could be Rise champion, but is a Karjud champion as well, I believe.
There, so it's very unlikely that he's going to be Rhymaster's champion.
What a plot twist that would be.
But this is a big thing, comfort pick, obviously, for Karjud coming in.
Yeah, I think Karjud actually, long-time Corki player, back when Tristana was also one of the better picks as well.
Yep, it's one of those very old picks that a lot of these AD carries that have been around a while certainly know their way around. Radiant does play it as well, but hasn't played it a lot recently. And of course, Jhin being the most recent champion, showing a lot of strength here. Curious to see how that 2v2 goes actually. But we could, of course, get a lane swap. Looks like all the fun, though, going to be taken out in Swiffer's mid lane, as I think he might be getting Zed again.
Seems likely, of course. I like the Nidalee pick personally here from Chiefs once again. As the mix-up.
Varus and Nautilus. So they're tanking in for Swiper, but here we go. This is a classic counter pick into Azir.
Yeah, and this is the big thing. As Azir becomes more common in the meta, you're going to start seeing champions like Kassadin, Victor, Varus, Veigar re-enter the meta as answers to him. Now, naturally...
Oh, baby.
Well, that...
Hecarim last pick for Chippies.
Is a throwback.
Damn. Nice. Okay, Chippies.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
He's
gone for the Hecarim, which is basically a carry top laner, but he's going to be into a diffused lane in that of the Nautilus. I guess the question to me is lane swaps. I know that both of these teams entirely capable. To me personally, I think Sin need to look much more actively in getting it this time, not being stopped with it so that they can trade turrets, not lose the early game, and come into their strength in mid-game stronger.
And the big thing is if they're put in a scenario where they can stack their wave correctly, they can actually look towards pushing towards that second-tier tower much more effectively than the Chiefs can, because Jin is so awful at sieging towers. And likewise, they have the Kindred.
I mean, to be honest, all I see is a Hecarim and 2 AD carries with no gap closes. I can definitely see the plan there in the pick for Chippies. I do like the throwback, but we'll see if it works. It's sort of the wild card pick in their team comp. The rest of it put together pretty nicely, but the Chiefs, again, they have a fine comp themselves.
I was actually hoping for the Bard as well as the counter to Jin as such, but to me, I'm looking at Chiefs' team composition. I'm struggling to see ways that Sin can win a team fight if they don't get into the backline to start it off. They need to take Jin down. They need to take Varus down. Varus has really good disengage. They've got Nidalee for sustain. They've got a lot of options here on the side of the Chiefs. It's about execution.
And it's funny that you said execution. What was the difference between these two teams? You decided that it was really about the vision. Varus, Nidalee, very heavy on that vision control to lay down their poke effectively.
Yeah, Sin heavy on engaging.
Does seem like a comp that suits the Chiefs. As you can see that team comp on the top of your screen. Sin's, of course, down below. And don't forget to use those hashtags. It's been great, the interaction you guys have had out on Twitter. Hashtag CHF win for those guys sitting in blue and pretty at 2-0. But Sin, of course, could make the big comeback. That's the story all the fans want to see. Hashtag Sin win for them. And hashtag I'm OPLs. It's time to get back on the Summoner's Rift for our third game of the semi-final. Chiefs up 2-0. The young Sin lineup, some of them at their first LAN ever, are going to really understand what it means to be pressured in a series.
Let's just say it's no surprises that Sin have started a series as the experienced members against the young members up 2-0, but it's already been mentioned. The underdogs are now on the back foot, and that means that they are in a position where they feel, I'm not going to say empowered, but they feel like they have nothing to lose.
Literally nothing to lose.
And coming into this game, I wouldn't be surprised if they play like it and just go all in.
Yep, I think some of that Sin aggression's really rewarded them in recent weeks, although it's been coupled with very smart play around the map as well.
But as you said, I mean, the scoreline of this series so far, 2-0, doesn't really tell the whole story. Yes, the Chiefs do close out very strong, very clinically, but Sin, for the majority of it, have been right there with them.
One other thing as well is, while we're looking at champion picks and whatnot, and we roughly and briefly touched on Chippies playing Hecarim. One reason that I like Hecarim at the moment is actually the Iceborne Gauntlet change. Because instead of going Trinity Force, and I'm sure Chippies might be inclined to going for that once again, Iceborne Gauntlet provides you a second option in the armor stacking direction, currently against 2 of the big carries being physical dealing, and they're the ones that you're going to be killing.
Well, you saw Chippies get a lot of resources in the last game. We'll see if he can get as many on Hecarim and start causing havoc. Has to have the aggressive ignite as well, so a lot of the standards we're used to seeing from Hecarim play still here for Chippies. As Cardra does get the Krugs, but it is the lane swap they want this time. No 2v2 in top lane. It will be a full-on 2v1.
Yeah, they actually got the swaps, the most important thing. Now we need to see how they go about taking turrets down.
Big thing also is that Swiper managed to get at least part of his creep wave. Typically they get 3, but he walks out with 2 before joining the double jungle.
Which would mean 3 in experience at least, and that's
Yeah.
also a very big thing. Double jungling. It's not that optimal when you're not the one with a machete or a hunter's talisman. You don't get as much experience.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, even though going to chase him out of the strong side of the map. As Juves and Chippies going to go over to the Raptor camp instead. Chippies happy to tank it up a bit. Juves, though, plenty of damage here between these two, that's for sure. Looks like Chippies going to get all the little ones. Juves going to take the big one, I imagine. Although, yeah, we'll get that one as well. So pretty standard stuff so far.
Except that,
We have a swap back.
yep, they hit the recall, and it's actually Cardred and Rogue running back to face the 2v2 of Alistar versus Jin.
All right. So pretty curious swap there, but Sin must be feeling confident.
But you lose so much time on this. So what they did is they attempted to push the wave forward, and then in between the waves bouncing, try to make the back and walk down. They will catch the wave hitting the tower, but this is really going to impact Chippies in particular.
Go to back in as well, but just boots there for Cardra doesn't really bolster their combat stats. They'll have a little bit extra here, but not too much. As you can see, Swiffer versus Rhymeister in that mid lane.
And there's the impact for Chippies, burn the TP, so...
And is a level behind.
Yep, and if Swiper ever decides to find his TP key, they do have a window of opportunity where they could utilize this.
Question number 1, where is my teleport button?
I feel like it says a lot about this game that Swiper has TP'd as little as he had. just about the control they have here. Spooks down the bottom side. Ready looking for that crit onto Kadra. Does get the Dancing Grenade and the first shot out, but it's going to burn that one on a caster creep. Make sure he keeps that CS up here on the Jhin.
It opens up so much opportunity for Spooks here. He's lining up for a gank. He's not going to find it, so he's going to hit the back. But knowing that you're so much stronger on this side of the map simply because you have that TP advantage.
Jhin, unfortunately, have seen this show before. Didn't really like the ending. So I'm going to dodge Ejim's potential flash all-ins. We have Tally weighing back in. If Ants and Oceania reverse sweep this series, I will play Master Yi in the finals. Sin, I believe in you guys.
That's unfair.
Give
he
me
knows
the Master
something.
Yi.
They've scrimmed each other all week. He knows something we don't.
I feel that way a lot about Tally, to be honest. Given
saying.
how good he is at League.
Master E was used in the LPL, you know.
Yep. Technically 100% win rate in the LPL.
Yeah.
Coming to an OPL final near you, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. Fall 10k behind and be Master Yi. Destined for success.
I think there are worse things that could happen.
Well, we'll have to see if Tally's next prophecy comes true. Was almost right about the Azir in game 2 as we have trouble in topside. Juve's looking for Swiper, sorry, as Chippy's also going to get that knockback. Juicy with the red buff, but good flash in from Swiper. Wants
He's
to
in
go
the creep
aggressive,
wave.
but it might be a little too much. The damage is still there, and Swiper, ignited down, is going to go down to Hecarim.
I am going to outright question Swiper's strategy right there. Of course, Spooks is nearby. And yes, there was a minion wave that he was fighting in, but it's an Ignite Hecarim. It's something that he may not be used to playing against because they haven't seen it for a while. Still does enough damage to take him down.
TP in though, going to try and turn things around, but that's just Swiper going to collect his farm. Spooks will try and delay some recalls here.
Okay, so we're going to see the replay, and Rusty's 100% right. He thought that with the creep wave that they're fighting in, that he would have enough, and just was caught off guard by how much damage was being done. But I'm going to count it as a win. Swiper found teleport and actually TP'd back to the lane.
Well, it does still have a CS lead as a result, but we'll see what damage Chippies can start getting done. Does have Ruby Crystal and Longsword now, so looks like that Trinity Force could be the build here again. With no Sheen in sight for that potential Iceborne Gauntlet. Daggers everywhere in mid and jungle for Sin as well. We're going to have Stinger first here for Rhymeister. A bit more aggressive versus the Varus as Swiffer. Already gone back and got his tier. CSing very nicely here and just keeping things back. Varus, all he really wants to do is neutralize this lane as much as possible.
He's a 2-item champion, so definitely just wants to chill. Rhymeister on the flip side, you'll note when he places down his soldiers, they are within range of being a threat to Swiffer, so naturally gravitates backwards.
What I really like out of the Chiefs composition are the different bridging points as well as the different ranges. So they have escalating ranges in terms of like their damage threats on their champions, like Nidalee Varus and then, or excuse me, Nidalee Jhin, then to Varus. But then also Nidalee as kind of like an early bridge champion, and Tavares as the mid-game power spike champion to compensate for Jin's power trough in mid-game for late-game spike.
Spooks caught though, forced to flash out as Juves just straight up shoots him. Spooks, again, sort of out in his own in the river with not enough vision. Juve's going to punish him there.
But isn't that amazing? We start standard. Everyone just chills out. No successful level 3 gank in the bottom lane. Everything has been adapted and reacted to by Sin. And now Juves is actually starting to catch Spooks out of position warding by predicting where he's going to be next. Things have turned around.
Oh, good hook there from Rogue. Almost connects in onto Radier, but space as well to not get caught out. Spooks here again, though. And Sin not taking the bait. Spooks actually going to almost finish that recall, but does decide to stay. Ejim again wants to try and make the play. Juves are stealing that blue buff away, so if this doesn't work for Chiefs, as Ejim's going to go in for it. Oh my god, they missed the snare. Rogue now going to keep moving back in, gets exhausted, but he flashes out to safety, and the hook's going to land in, but it doesn't quite get a key target. Good play though from Rogue, but they are going to chase him down. Spooks gets it, but Cartridge should be able to take him out here. Does get the Frost Bomb down for the traders. Rhymeister and Chippies are down here as well. Great flash from Radier, but Ejim's not going to be so lucky. Runs back towards the tower. And this goes to whoever they want it to. It is going to be Cartridge for the double.
Corki picking up 2 kills. Sin rotating with not just their top laner who has the advantage in teleport, but their mid laner who has a cleanse makes his way down. And that is monstrous for the Sin in the way of getting it back. The only unfortunate thing was that Rogue's hook, I think, hit a minion. Apart from that, impeccable.
Oh, good ulti there from Rai as well. Juice also here after the counter jungle. Swiffer forced to flash out. Sick ulti onto Kindred to maybe save him here. Rhymeister's going to move the soldiers in. Lancer's Pipe burnt for the dive, but it's not enough to kill the Varus.
They don't kill him.
Bloodthirsty.
Yeah, wow. Sin still, however, they have control in this mid lane. There's a package on Cardra.
Oh, Cardra going in for it. Swiffer way too far back there. Shouldn't have stayed.
Aww.
And Cardra, yeah, could have had a double there. Sin continuing to pressure.
Sin have just exploded.
But we talked about this, though. You know, they've got nothing to lose. This is the final game. It's just go ham.
Well, they're doing it so far, and it's coming up pretty nicely for them as Swiper forced to walk himself to that mid lane here just to stave off some of the pressure. Radius still back in bottom lane, does have himself a BF sword, so looking pretty happy on the Jhin for right now. But Sin going to go back, spend some well-deserved cash, 4-1 up in kills already. Major component to the T-Force done for Cardred. He'll return to bottom lane, and Sin, they certainly came to play, and they're starting to fight Chiefs early.
I think it's safe to say that this is the Sin we want to see in a semi-final matchup against the Chiefs. And what I mean by that is a Sin that gets ahead early. Because that is when they are most threatening, they feel the most confident, and they start to execute on the map.
Good hook on the Spooks, but not going to stop the blue invade. Unfortunately, Ejim puts an end to that.
But the thing is typically when Sin snowball ahead, it's on the back of Juves into Rise lane. This time around, it's Cardred that's come away with majority of the gold, 3-0 right now on this Corki. So I'm just curious, you know, in between the package timers, how that'll really impact the rest of the map. And if Sin can continue to snowball from here, I think it means that Juves needs to start playing around the bottom lane.
So what that actually indicates to me is that Rymeister should go bottom and that they should all go mid.
Yeah, I agree.
Which gives a lot more availability to them.
To roam it around and spread the power.
Yeah.
Might be waiting for T-Force, but shouldn't be too far off now for Cardred. As Rymeister actually pulls the wave, trying to freeze it, I think.
I'm actually not sure what that was. Like he could have gone to Raptors, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Just didn't quite make it over the wall.
I'm just a little bit confused.
He's definitely keeping it back here. Does have a little bit of a CS lead, so zoning Swiffer out, but Varus is very long range. Pretty hard to keep him away from creeps. As again, 4 Chiefs Pink Lords ready. Swiffer's like, yep, you can have this one this time.
Yeah, and actually confused. I thought it was a Thunderlord's Decree. At least that's what the graphics said. And usually Varus would go for Deathfire Touch, much like a Jhin would. The bonus damage that you do on your Q is actually quite cool.
Is absurd.
You never hit
is
three
the word
things
you're looking
as
for.
Varus because you're sitting back poking every 6-second interval or however long it is depending on your charge time. Like you actually probably should have Deathfire Touch.
It's 4 seconds.
Swiffer in trouble. We'll check out Thunderlords now if he has it. Juves actually diving straight in for it. Good ulti, but it's not enough. Juves ultis himself. Now to stay alive, they have to juggle properly, but Rogue here to zone out Spooks. Juves looking to leap here. The tower's going to fall as well. Very well played by Sin.
And there's the rotation from Cardred and crew. Again, moving that gold lead around, putting it into the mid lane, and taking a very early tower on the Chiefs.
Yeah, very smart play from Sin once again. They've accelerated the pace of this early game. And we're moving into the mid-game stage where in the last two, we've seen Sin actually start to pull ahead and find advantages. So coming into this period with advantages could make things worse for the Chiefs.
Certainly a nice change for the team as they are going to take Rift Herald here as well. Juves must be stacking quite quickly this particular game because that Devour is already done as Chippies is going to go ahead and get the buff. He's going to recall. We could have some major items completed here for carries. Trinity Force not quite there yet for Chippies, but everyone's starting to power up, and the Chiefs, almost 2,000 gold behind at this point, have to be very careful. Good route though onto Cardred, but not enough to follow in with. Rogue just keeps the Alistar out with a preemptive play. Cardred gonna have to play a bit safe for now.
So the funny thing about this point in the game as well is you've got a Sheen that effectively matches a crit. And he's actually going to be doing as much as a crit does by standing still, taking the combo, and just pressing his Gatling gun as he crits in with Sheen. And that's exactly what we just saw. Cardred being 3-0 makes the CS advantage less. It also means that their strengths are relatively matched, and we're looking at Rogue and Ejim to try and get something done.
Well, Cardred going to clear the rest of this wave. I think he must have Trinity Force ready. Last of his mana used. Radio and Ejim stay though, and you can see a big chunk of money does mean he has Trinity Force ready. But Radio and Ejim going to stay for an extra wave. Sin could get some tower pressure here.
And speaking of Trinity Force, Chippies has decided to go that route himself as well, as opposed to the Iceborne Gauntlet Spirit Massage route.
Yeah. It's offensive, it's split push, so Trinity Force, for reference, is a dueling item. That's how it's always going to be coined as. Iceborne Gauntlet is more of a survivability, like if they were against the Zed again, perhaps he might have opted towards that. But instead he wants to be able to kill Nautilus.
The thing about this, though, is that I feel like he's so critical to shutting down the Chiefs' composition because, like you said, very two immobile AD carries. Jhin and Varus. Hecarim's going to do a ton of damage too.
Caught out now on top side. Ulti's going to follow, but he does ulti over the top in the tower, but a great hook there from Swiper. Spook's going to lock it down and take the kill.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing there is Chippies actually has to use his ult over the wall. Can't use it at the same time as the Nautilus knockup, which is potentially where he should have gone with that. Unfortunate, but Sin, they respond.
Yep, take the dragon, and 5 Devour stacks for Juice is a nice little bonus there after taking that objective down. Chiefs, though, still looking to get a bit of gold back here. Always feels like Ejim and Radio want to go aggressive in the bottom side. Radio going to take that ward out, though, but Cardred, you can see, nice and strong. First items reach for both these AD carries, in fact, as Radio finishes Essence Reaver on the other side. But you can see Cardred, Corki's always been strong with one item. Starting to show off some of that power here. Good hook.
Yeah, look at the damage.
I want to talk about something that happened in the top lane, though. So Rai made a very intelligent decision where he walked out of Fog of War, or into Fog of War from the mid lane, and what that did is it forced Spooks and Swiper to back off sieging the top tier tower because they knew that Chippy's death timer was about to come back up and he had the TP, and they could be possibly looking at a 2v2 Azir Hecarim versus Nidalee Nautilus situation, and simply Rai just moving out of vision saved the tower and denied any sort of trade for the Chiefs for tower for dragon.
Well, it seems like the Sin with the lead is starting to clean up some of their map decisions as well. It's definitely the team that looks like the squad we saw have such a stellar Super Week and a run here to get themselves into the semi-final spot.
Probably has like 2.5k.
Yeah, he's real rich right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has more. That's 145 CS with just like a stinger in his sword shoes.
And he's still greedy. Gets the blue buff, is like, you know what, I want to use this.
Oh, wow.
1,700.
Yeah, it's
has
still
spent some of it, but both mid laners actually pretty big banks to try and spend away.
Keeping each other there by wave clearing. It's funny because Rymeister could disappear, Swiffer could disappear and look to threaten other lanes, but their relative strength isn't actually that high. They're just going to be crowd control bots with a bit of damage to boot. They need to go back and get their items.
Rymeister's put the turret up, so maybe now is a good time, but he stays again. He's like, ooh, creep wave.
Can't let Swiffer get the 100 gold.
Absolutely not. Got to protect the tower, got to get more CS. But does need to shop. Lashes 2 should be done if that's where he's going next, which I assume it is. And look at these two. Just farming up forever. 2k apiece, and Swiffer's even going to farm the final wave out. Right, does go back, though, and spend his gold. And there's the Nash's finish.
Yeah, and that's a big purchase, working towards the Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well. Once he gets that one, tell you what, that's a scary bird, man.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, though, Chiefs deciding to pull the trigger on some sort of objective. It will be that bottom tier tower, but doesn't mean much in terms of snowballing that into other control points on the map since Dragon is down.
Corki has his package. You can see how fast he's moving on that minimap. Working top lane, he's actually intentionally sacking the turret, which means Swiper's response was to get the heck out of there. Smartly, I will say, but they do get a trade once more. So whilst Chiefs start being proactive, they're getting things done now.
Sin still
Sin
doing
is still
a great
answering,
job.
and
Yeah.
this is the mid-game Sin that we saw in the first 2 games.
Well, this is the thing. They should have initiative moving into this mid-game, so any trade that does happen feels like Sin is a little bit further ahead at this point. Enough to try and force something down. In fact, Rymeister makes a great rotation. Nash's 2 is ripping through the turret. Rymeister's going to get that and the Rift Turret fallback. Plus, I think Kindred almost stole a mark away on Chief's side of the jungle. Sin get a lot in that trade and come out nicely ahead.
It's a 3 sweep on objectives. Top
Yeah.
tower, bot tower, as well as the Rift Herald.
It's actually very big as well. And Chippy's getting the Rift Herald buff because they don't have an outer turret to take. Says to me that they want him to continue to duel against his opponent in lane, whether that be Swiper or they send someone else there, which I wouldn't advise because it's a Trinity Force Hecarim into a Jhin. Probably a no-no.
Probably not. Slifer continuing to display wave clear here. Does have a Ghost Blade ready. So tier stacking up. Cooldown boots also there. Varus does need those 2 items, but getting pretty close.
A lot of farm on Jhin.
Yeah, Raid's actually been CSing really nicely. Got that Zeal built up as well. You can see the Chiefs pings under that tower, but Sin want to try and defend it and look for a fight. They do need to start doing something with their lead, I think is the other thing, because all well and good up until this point, 3 outer turrets down, but it's their next move that's probably going to really start tipping the scales. And the Chiefs, they don't stop doing stuff on the map. They almost never play passive, it feels like.
We're hitting the period in the game where Chiefs do start to bite back quite handily. Varus in particular has one of his 2 big items completed. No doubt will be working towards the Line Immune as soon as he can. And that will, to me, signal the point where sieging is a capability for Chiefs and where their potential for skirmishing and teamfights actually goes up immensely.
They're all going for pretty much a late game build as well. Yes, Varus, is, like you said, has that 2-item power spike, but looking at the Roa being picked up by Spooks, not completed yet, but has the Catalyst. So he's looking for a late game tanky Nidalee build. Likewise, you've got Jhin, who's going to excel in the late game.
Just a random tome as well.
I'm actually really surprised that he went Essence Reaver before going the
think about it, pastry time.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Just hanging out. Got to study, you know. It's going to be a long game.
He's got his book. Yeah, he's scaling.
Yeah.
He's got a book to read. So Rise is such a good late game champion, right?
Always has one. Ready to go.
It's like such an awful joke. But
But it's true.
yes.
Well, Dragon up in 25. Could be our next point of action, but both teams happy to play back a bit. Card reading
Deathfire touch.
the pointy end. Yeah.
Go yell at the graphics guy.
I've been lied to.
How dare you, Keystone Mastery Graphic? We trusted you.
We did. And look where that brought us. Well, confirmed for now. Swiffer starting to get real frustrating with that poke. As Tower on top does go down there to the Chiefs. Pretty brave to be there when Dragon's coming back up, but Sin looks like they're going to collect it. Kindred's already sated, so this Dragon should die real quickly.
Absolutely should. Sin, they are playing it slow. They're playing it calm. It almost feels like they are the Chiefs this time around. Doesn't mean that the Chiefs won't play like themselves either, so we're just kind of waiting for it to come to a head.
We're waiting for everyone to get their items. So the Chiefs obviously recognizing that there's no way that they can beat Sin in a full 5v5 right now. Saying, it's fine. Lay down the defensive vision, look for picks, lay down poke, wait for our big item power spikes, stall it out.
Eden defends his ward though. Again, very brave play on the All-Star, but Rogue just pulls him out with the Dark Passage. And Chippy's going back as well. Home guard's actually up now, I think, past the 20-minute mark, so could see a big TP play here, and Rhymaster's real strong. This is a good invade into the jungle from Sin.
Yeah, he's not far away from Israel's Crystal Scepter, but he's got the most important aspects of it. His Giant's Belt and his needlessly large rod. He's definitely putting down the hurt. As to me, the question is, with no Dragon available, no outer turrets available, how do they actually start to break their way into the poke comp?
It's moving into the jungle, and primarily a denial of vision.
Not being allowed to, that's the scary part, right?
Yeah, and that's what Chiefs are doing so well.
They're standing their ground.
Speaking of, Rhymaster puts the turret up again. Going to have a very short little mid lane for a bit. What's that right again? Just wave clearing up.
Just an overgrown rot portal.
Uh-oh. Curtain call pop. Good cleanse. Gets all the way out of the range of the ulti. And Raider's like, all right, one shot's enough. Trying to walk back in the mid lane. Right has to stay to try and wave clear here. It's a good little bit of push pressure from the Chiefs.
Yeah, and Swiffer has his ultimate with no cleanse available on Rhymaster. So there's now actual kill pressure in this middle lane, which draws attention of more members of Sin.
Oh, here comes the TP flank.
I like this a lot from Chippy's. Can they find the fight they want? Chippy's looking for it.
And
He's
bottom tower.
All right. So, you know,
Bam.
not super effective use, but it'll do. Chippy's eating the tower aggro too. Not sure that was part of the plan. But hey, they'll get a turret. Sin's starting to make some pressure, but Rye caught there by Swiffer and Spooks, and that's an easy kill for the poke champs.
And once
There's
again,
that kill
no
pressure.
cleanse. Definitely Varus pops down the ultimate. They get the kill, and he is Chiefs now proactively trying to make a trade. Sin, way too difficult to defend this.
I mean, that said, it's still kind of like you said, Sin or hold
good
on.
hook.
Rogue wants it, plays him back in, but the damage is down. Rogue's absolutely dead as Juice. Can't pop the ulti in time to save his teammate. Deptar taking a CC Cardra as well as Swiffer is able to take him out. Swiper does not land the follow-up hook, but Curtain calls back. There's one, there's two. And he's going to wait. There's the third. He wants Cardra. But he's not going to fire the last bullet. Chiefs Insect will take a turret, and all of a sudden, Gold leads straight back to them.
Well, what I was just about to say is that Sin actually came out on top in that trade simply because they got a tier 2 tower as well as some
Oh, the
picks.
hook.
But,
Cardra
oh
hooked
my-
again. It just doesn't stop for the Chiefs.
but these continuous picks are putting Chiefs so far ahead as Chippy's now marching in.
Each in trouble,
Chippies.
but Chippies goes very deep for it. Ulti up from Ryan. He's going to kick Chiefs out of his base. Chippies did fall on the other end,
Good
and
hook.
Swiffer gets hooked up again.
He's got all 4
Flay
shots.
is there, but it's just too
No,
much.
he's got
Great
shots.
ulti there from Swiffer onto poor Rymeister, and no cleanse is starting to cost him. It's just so many picks.
The slow battle from the Chiefs. Swiper's dead now
Still
as well.
not dead. Taking the tower. Not too sure why, but the Chiefs, I think, finally have to back off, as we've had kind of 4 for 3 over the various minutes. The Chiefs, I think they got greedy to break that tower.
This
but
is
do not do it.
like a massacre, and somehow the Chiefs like crawled out of this with a gold lead. Like that's what happened.
Yeah, they just found pick after pick. Right now, it's a Varus, Nidalee, Jhin composition with a Nautilus to lock them down and an Alistar to be the front line for them. They're effectively running the Jhin Xerath composition that we've actually seen in the EU LCS, where you can just throw the ultimates at the same time, but it's a Varus with a Q instead.
That was getting very 2013 World Finals for a second there. Just picks and then take the inhibitor down mid. They could see it coming. I couldn't quite finish it off there.
Azir too strong.
So bloody.
Certainly is. And all of a sudden, yeah, 16 kills. Map starts to get a little bit louder as Radiant returns with a huge bevy of gold. We're going to have some very accelerated champions across the rift for these sides. And we drag them back in a minute 50. Possible point of contention there, but we're starting to get to Baron territory. 24 minutes through now. Spawns at 20. Teams generally don't want to go for a quick one unless they're super far ahead or it's very comp specific. But you have to start thinking 25 to 30 minutes. You got to consider a big purple worm so valuable towards the late stages of the mid game.
Yeah, Chippy's actually sitting in that bottom lane also. No teleports available for each respective top laner. To me is actually a big win for Sin because they're taking away a big part of the front line that the Chiefs have, which means they could potentially go in onto the back of a threshold. But if it takes too long, then they will bleed out objectives. They'll lose their health bars. It's not safe. And
this is an interesting counter push here from Sin. They're actually trying to split as the Chiefs group in and try and take this tier 2. They will get it, and the poke is very deadly. Cardred actually did get snared. Eats the first bullet of the ulti, gets out of the way though, but Rogue has to put the box down. Very nice usage of that choke point for the Chiefs. Getting scarily close to finding themselves another pick.
Absolutely are, and this is a dangerous situation where Sin have to be very careful with their execution because sending 3 people top, you're better off sending nobody top and trying to pressure the mid lane if you're going to trade.
And a single mistake on either of these two compositions is so punishable. Again, double 80 carry comp with the Nidalee for the Primal Surge, attack speed steroid. Likewise on the other side, Kindred, Corki, and Azir. Like one mistake, your entire base is gone.
And so Sin actually want the dragon. They've sent Chippy's top lane. They've got 2 of them already. If there's anything that they will feel content by trying to take, it would be that dragon. My only quarrel is that they've gone to the package not timed with the dragon, which is very obviously their avenue of attack.
Well, Chippy's he's going to go back actually. Could make another teleport play.
He's sitting there waiting for it.
Dragon fight. This is a pretty good setup here for Sin. They're going to start it. Damage is there, but good lockdown of the Cardred. They're going to go in for it again. Ulti out from Radiant, going to poke them down. Cardred actually eats too many bullets. And actually Swiffer stole the dragon, but now Chippy's going to try and make it happen with the TP play, but the Chiefs are going to fall back. Chippy's locked up on the front line. Massive Varus ulti going to start to spread as it does lock down Juves. No kills yet for the Chiefs though, but so much poke.
That spear.
Yeah, the damage that comes out of the Chiefs, the lockdown out of Jin is setting them up. Like, Rymeister might be dead.
Might need a spear. Has to use the ulti.
He has to dodge this.
Tries to disengage. Swiffer here again. Flashes in for it. Radiant even fishing with a W.
From 2 screens away, Chiefs are poking Sin and forcing them into their base. The dragon wasn't even theirs. And Chiefs, they've got health bars. They can go to Baron.
The amount of line damage is massive on this team, but like you said, Juves is still up.
The call has been made. It's Baron. That's what they want. The Chiefs going to very aggressively start this. Juice eats a bit of poke there. Nidalee throwing in there as well.
Level 13 to level 14 smite. Juves has the weaker smite if it comes to contest.
Oh, Ejim tries to CC him up. They're going to try and finish it off, but Spooks hasn't quite got it yet. Chippy's is in the backside, and Cardred takes out Swiffer. Baron does go over to the Chief, but Sinner straight in there looking for a fight. Radiant going to blow up. Chippy's over. Radiant does die on the other side. Spooks, though, going to get chased down by Rymeister. Baron fight disastrous there for Sin. Sorry, for Chiefs, as Sin take it 3-1.
They take out the 3 carries of the Chiefs with only Swiper and Ejim remaining. But the Baron buff is Chiefs, and they might be able to hold off the onslaught that should come out from Sin. I don't know if they can go any further here. Still, we're seeing successful team fights that can go to Sin.
And again, all it takes is one botched fight, and the game turns very quickly. Rymeister mid lane just applying pressure. He's threatening this inhibitor very aggressively. It's dead, I think. There's no answer here yet for Ejim. Rymeister aggressively using the W to take it out. He is going to break it. Now he's going to keep moving for it. Pops the ulti down. Surfs out to safety. Very stylish from the Sin mid laner.
And just frankly a positional error from the Chiefs not prioritizing the correct tower. The pings went down on mid lane. It's like, hey guys, why are we defending the 2nd tier top tower when our inhibitor tower is falling?
They could have just sent one of them there to have a Baron buff on it as well, right? Like, plain and simple is replay.
So biggest thing to watch here is simply how Sin split this fight apart and how their damage resources are in multiple places. Rymeister being able to fight on the back half of the Baron pit and then get involved over the Baron pit with the Sand Soldiers, pretty much fought in 2 different locations and ran through that fight.
Well, still have some Baron left, so grouped up, going to try and shove out mid. see what they can get done. Chippy's bottom side with no TP. Cardred really has to start dodging some of these skill shots. Eats more bullets. Rymaster now going to have a couple. Ooh, crit. Not doing too much damage, actually.
Can they
Infinity
get it?
Edge not there yet for Jin.
It's funny because like Cardred is the focus of all of the poke.
It's dead.
But Juves is actually the one that we need to look towards here for Sin. He needs to get the Lamb's Respite down at the right time so that they can effectively fight.
Juves hits a hook. Damage there. There's the Lamb's Respite, but he's almost chunked out completely to death. Swiper gonna have to flash out of the way though as Chippy's looks for the ulti. Goes straight in for the backlines. And Juves now forced to dance out of the way. Chippy's still tanking in the front side. A lot of cooldowns burnt. Cardred barely escapes there. And Rymaster tries to keep them out, but the Chiefs will not be stopped.
Don't know if there is any stopping this inhibitor going down. Another hook's on.
Onto Ejim though. He's relatively tanky despite the lack of ulti. Chiefs are going to take that inhibitor. Minions with the Baron buff do just enough work for it. And it feels like we got awfully close to breaking mid for Sin, but it is Chiefs that do get the first inhib.
But how disorienting. We left and it was, okay, Sin, you know, you won the Baron fight. You didn't get the Baron, but you took 2 towers. Suddenly we come back and Chiefs are marching it straight up Sin's barrel.
Yeah, that's... Honestly, this is a frustrating composition to play against if you listen. Like, Varus, the range that he has on that poke is obnoxious, but the follow-up from Jin is the scary part because it's essentially an instant lockdown that gives room for Nautilus to hit the hook or for Nidalee to hit the spear. They can just play a patience game. Varus, I mean, it's like a 4-second cooldown on that Q. 1 will hit, they're locked down, and that's effectively like the health bar of a carry gone.
And the damage that these 280 carries are starting to do. Radiant finished that IE. Swiffer, with a red potion nonetheless, has finished the Maw of Malmortius. Now, even Spooks, who's got his death cap now and 3 items on Swiper as far as tank items go. Chiefs comp well and truly arrived in. Not that Sin don't do enough, but the poke is something they have to start looking to overcome.
It really reminds me of comps where Nocturne was big priority. When Nidalee was a mid lane and you would hit the spear and then Nocturne would immediately ult and delete someone, it's the same type of concept.
Just poke him down, and it's working so far for the Chiefs. Again, gold very even.
It's like a backline assassination comp.
It's pretty gross.
Backline distance assassination comp? I just want to call it the sniper comp.
The sniper comp? Yeah, I mean, that's very fitting. No Caitlyn, but Jin will do the job there. As Juves does dash out of the way.
It's almost like aptly named by the Keystone Master of this team composition. They are essentially the Deathfire touch.
Yeah?
Yep.
Like, everyone touches at the same time someone dies.
Don't want to eat any of this damage. But Sin, this is a very dangerous spot to be defending because you have to dodge an awful lot of skill shots, and they have a lot of them.
Fish in a barrel.
And there's Juice. Eats the first spear, has to back.
Swiper meanwhile in the top lane.
Yeah, Chippy's will answer Swiper, but at the moment it feels like Chippy's wants to answer bottom.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting in base.
He's got plenty of flanking wards. He could very easily get behind them either through the lane, and that's where he goes.
Here they go, straight through the back. Now Chiefs have to bail. They're going to see Chippy's, but is it too late? He looks for Swiffer, but a good old flash is maybe going to get him out to safety. Nautilus going to join down here as well, but the team cannot join. Ejim ties up the front line of Sin, try and dive back through. The back line is doing damage. Ejim and Swiper getting a little bit lower, but Ejim with the ulti is good enough as Rymeister does shut them out with the ulti.
Oh my god.
Surf back in, pops the zonies, but that might be a mistake. He's going to get locked up, and Radiant blows him up in the front line. Sin pick a desperate fight and lose a member.
But what a brilliant answer to an Azir. Knowing that this pick would be contested, having a sniper comp like this set up to outrange that champion and just punish.
Yeah, Azir, very long-range champion, but not as long as a Varus and a Jin. As the Chiefs are looking menacing right now on their second inhibitor.
Oh my god, Cardred. That damage might have just killed him as he does QSS off the debuff of Jin, I believe. The Juves are going to get caught out. Lamb's Respite not there. He's going to go down to Radiant. Is this inhib's going to get broken as well? Topside pressure also mounting. Chiefs, they can taste their meeting with Legacy in the final.
This poke is obnoxious. The Varus ult's on.
Oh, Cardred just blown to pieces. Radiant takes him out. These turrets are going to start falling. The Chiefs are going to move in for the kill. Chippy's and Rogue only up for now. This tower's going to get melted, though, and it seems like they are going to claim the Nexus. Ejim going to move in to try and get a few more kills to pad the stats. Rymeister, they're going to surf in the Chiefs. They want to zerk down the Nexus. Radiant needs to get in there, but he's taking too much damage. They need to zone for a little bit longer. The Nexus does go down to the Chiefs. They'll clean sweeps in and look to face Legacy.
Chiefs Esports Club are looking ridiculous right now. They execute on not one team composition, but many, and they do it very elegantly.
just, it was destiny that they would meet Legacy in the finals again. Sin should be very proud for how they played this series. Like we've said, the 3-0 does not really explain everything that happened here. It was not a whitewash, but like you said, Chiefs executed 3 multiple compositions beautifully. Their macro game was awesome. Their team fighting looks in par, and this should make an explosive finals across from Legacy.
Well, players are going to shake hands and exchange a few hugs. Very well played by both sides, but that does, of course, determine our final. And we heard it from Carbon, we've heard it on the desk. It just does feel like destiny.
It almost does, doesn't it? Chiefs versus Legacy one more time. Couldn't have scripted it better.
Well, we didn't. That's just the matchup we got. Simply just amazing to watch the teams play. But the Chiefs today, they will celebrate their semi-final victory as we toss back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Patriot Time. Unfortunately, the Cinderella story does end there, but the Chiefs once again book their date with Destiny against Legacy in the OPL Split 1 final. That will be on April 5th. But I want to focus on Sin for a little bit, because this is a team, everyone was saying it, like, Sin were like, we are a team that will step up. Everyone was like Carbon said they didn't get better over the off-split. Ejim said irrelevant for 4th place. They finished up 3rd, by the way, but they were talking about Sin. There are just so many people that poked at this team.
Yeah.
And they have proven that, you know what, not only are they within the top 4, I completely agree with the sentiment that even though that was a 3-0, that was a much closer game when you go back and watch them what you otherwise would have thought.
Yeah, and you look at the players that were stepping up here for Sin at the same time, and Rogue stands out like a sore thumb. This guy on the Thresh in the last 2 games was landing some of the most amazing hooks. This guy was doing so much work for his team, and I cannot wait to watch Sin the next split of the OPL, because I have a feeling they're going to go a whole lot further.
For me, it was the first 2 games. Sin did a really good job of fighting back from behind. They constantly took the game to the Chiefs, kept trying to claw back those advantages, played it really well. 3rd game, they showed they can clean up that early game, had a nice advantage for themselves, but at the end of the day, Chiefs executed the games much better.
Yeah, they certainly did. But I also want to take a look over the other side of the rift, because the Chiefs, ever since they've got Swiffer back on the team, returned to form. Looking at 2 members in particular, Brandon Swiper Holland, Samuel Spooks Broadley, they are night and day. Early season versus late season.
Oh,
what a turnaround.
Just completely ridiculous. And I mean, you can talk about, you know, Swiffer returning to the team all you want, but today was based on Swiper and Spooks just doing ridiculous things. Spooks was playing like he had something to prove today. It was ridiculous.
Certainly did. Well, we are actually going to hear from the Chiefs jungler, Victorious Spooks. He's over by our side with Pastry Time.
Thank you very much. And yes, I am here with Spooks. A very well-played series there for the Chiefs. You'll book another date with Destiny there for Legacy in the finals. How do you feel about the series overall, though? So you obviously had a great game. Lots of praise for you from the analyst desk there. But how are you feeling coming off the Rift?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy with like individual performance. But as a team, we didn't feel like we played that well. We made a few macro errors, I would say. But I think Radiant actually really took the reins in the shot calling in the last game especially. And he made sure we didn't get the Hecker in flank. And yeah, we're really happy that we closed out the 3-0.
Awesome. And again, definitely a strong sweep there. Good play overall from the team. I guess, what are the things you may be looking to fix? You mentioned a few things there, but maybe give a percentage of how well you think the team played today. Because we've seen you guys at your peak. You're amazing. You know, 2-time OPL champion. How would you say you played today overall? Because Sin definitely gave you a run for their money as well.
Yeah, Sin definitely, like, they didn't just let us walk over them. They actually looked to make plays, which is credit to them. I think we played to I'd give it 80 to 90%. It was just like a few downfalls, obviously. And I actually made a few overzealous plays, getting too hyphy. But overly happy with our performance still.
Well, that's interesting, because we had a lot of praise for you on the desk, and both on the caster desk and the analyst desk. I think you had an excellent series so far. So how are you feeling overall about your performance? Maybe, what are some of the things you maybe didn't do or you shouldn't have done that you did, Spooks? Because I know when you get fired up, you can get a little too aggressive.
Yeah, actually, Radio was talking to me after the second game. He was like, stop trying to outplay Jews, because there's a bit of rivalry there, and every time I landed a spear on him, even if it was in their jungle, I just wanted to jump on him. And I got caught out twice in the first couple of games, being a bit too hyphy. But once Radio settled me down, I was all G.
All right, so let's talk about your jungle picks, of course. You've been a big proponent of the Nidalee, the Kindred. Awesome games. You only had to pull out those 2 junglers today. How are you feeling about the current state of the junglers? And these are obviously 2 very strong junglers. You're comfortable on them. Just what do you think about the general jungle meta?
Yeah, I think Kindred and Nidalee especially on 6.5, is like, they're both just disgusting. There's like those two are typically, Nidalee's actually perma-banned in most other regions. I'm surprised she gets through a lot of OCE drafts. I was watching the Doubles Legacy game and she got through almost every draft. I was like, what the heck? And Kindred is like insane with Azir. You have the wall ulti combo, and she's just really strong duelist, insane ganks. And yeah, I love playing the carry junglers and getting big swips on the tanks. That's what I play for.
Well, I'm not sure Swiper likes that too much, but certainly it seems like the tag team is working out. Final question for you, Spooks. How are you feeling moving in? Again, a good performance here, about 80-90%. That's not too bad for a 3-0 versus Sin. But Legacy, your opponents once again in a grand final. This time they're coming in as the #1 seed from the regular season. How are you feeling about that series? And how well do you think the Chiefs have to play? Are we going to get 110, 120? How are you guys feeling in the upcoming grand final?
Yeah, I think we definitely have to play 100% to beat Legacy. I feel even if we play 80%, they'll probably just punish our mistakes. They're a very punishing team just in general. If you make mistakes, they'll capitalize well. So if we just play like a clean macro game, which I wouldn't say we did perfectly today, well, if we do play a clean macro game, we should be fine. So yeah, hopefully we can bring the 100% next week.
Well, excellent performance today regardless, and of course, good luck in the grand final. That is all for us on Spookster. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been wonderful to have you, and of course, congratulations on your semi-win. We'll see you in the finals in next week, though, but for now, let's toss it back to Spawn in the analyst desk.
Thank you so much. And he's actually simmered down quite a fair bit. I saw him after the game. He was a little bit more fired up. But I want to go back to, he mentioned their draft a couple of times, and this is an area I want to hit because they got Sivir, Kindred, Azir. Then they had to take away components of that. They had a very nice drafting game too. Third game, they had the sniper composition, as Frostgrim was calling it. 3 very good drafts. This is something that we've maybe been critical of other teams in the OPL, but Chiefs especially seem to have a very good grasp on the current meta.
Yeah, and it seemed like Sin were adapting without actually necessarily knowing what Chiefs were going to be picking in game #1, which honestly isn't something that you'd expect from a team moving into a semi-final like this. I'm going to call them out right here because the Azir Sivir Kindred combination was despicable, and then they took little parts out of it. Game #2, a little bit closer there from Sin, and I feel like if this series had have just kept going, Sin would have worked out their draft phase and really got it together. But as far as drafting is concerned, Chiefs just look ahead of the curve.
I agree with the fact that Sin were able to pick away small pieces of the team comp from game #1, but game 3 was really what sold it for me because Chiefs just went 360, almost 180, not 360.
Went 360 and walked back away.
That's too far. Yeah. they really were able to show that they could just completely go away whatever they were picking up in game 1 and game 2 and throw out a whole new team composition, and they played it brilliantly. They executed it really well.
Yeah, they certainly did. However, guys, let's take a look at the week's results so far. Last night, it was Legacy taking the 3-1 over the Direwolves. And the Chiefs tonight were able to 3-0 Sin Gaming. 2 very, in the end, one-sided games as we move towards the grand final next week. The 5th of April, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It will be the #1 seed Legacy against the only team they've dropped a game against, the old split. It is going to be the Chiefs. As Patriot Time said, no, I think it was Rusty. Couldn't have scripted it better, but guys, that is where we're going to leave you tonight. It is going to be Legacy versus Chiefs next week, but on behalf of myself, the analyst desk, these guys, the casters, and the entire production crew, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week for the grand final.